good morning. It's the afternoon. So my biggest focus this week has been with my reading and my reading groups and trying to just kind of like shift that whole like way that I'm doing that and make them a lot more like phonics targeted, I guess. I feel like with a lot of kids, and especially when second grade, like if they can't read the text to begin with, obviously if they can't read it, they can't comprehend it. But I feel like a lot of the kids, like I focus a lot on like comprehension during my reading groups. And I feel like a lot of it comes down to like the phonics part of it and not knowing how to read it to the, like in the first place. So I went through my iReady data. One of my days after I had jury duty, I got out early one day, and so I spent the whole rest of the day digging through my iReady data, digging through like phonics assessments that I've given, everything like that, and really like pinpointing goals for each of my kids and then grouping them according to those goals versus grouping them according to reading group. So they're like kind of grouped by reading group because a lot of the reading group stuff did like match the iReady stuff as well. But yeah, so I've just been doing that. Within my reading groups, I've been using this book like crazy. This thing has been like my Bible this weekend, reading it. This thing is huge, but it has such good ideas. It's the Teaching Reading Source Book, and it has a bunch of really good ideas for, but not just like good ideas, like easy ideas that like there's not a lot of prep work for working with phonics, like with small groups. So like one of the things that I did was that I saw there was to do picture cards, and I have a bunch of these picture cards that came with my curriculum, and I've never used them before. Actually, I had an EL student last year who had came in knowing like basically no English, and I used these with that student. But these, I pulled these out, and so basically there's a lot of different ways you could do it. But this one that I did today was working on onset and rhyme. So like, so bird would be like bird. And so then you put these on the table, and I did all ones that had the same beginning sound. So they all started with the letter B. And then I said I sounded out the word with onset and rhyme. And then the kids in that small group had to tell me which picture it was that I was sounding out. So just like practice with for phonological awareness or phonemic awareness, and that was fun for them. They enjoyed it. It was so easy. Like I have these cards, and it literally took no like prep or anything. I guess if I didn't have these cards, then I'd have to prep pictures, but yeah. And another thing that I saw that you could use these for was to do like pull out ones that had like A at the beginning of the word, and then A like in the middle of the word, and then the kids have to like sort them between like when A is in the beginning sound and when A is in the medial sound, which I thought was kind of cool too. So I'm going to do that with my group probably one day. I try with my group, especially with my students who are struggling a little bit more with their reading, to do one phonemic awareness activity, one phonics activity, and then get into like reading the actual story. And for phonics, like my go-to is always to give them sound boxes and give them a dry erase marker, and we just sound out words. And then we like manipulate the sounds and change the sound. So it's like, oh, put cat on your board. And then, okay, I want you to change one letter and make it say bat. And just manipulating those sounds as you go. It's like always my go-to with phonics instruction, because it works for like blends. It works for, long, the sneaky E or magic E, whatever you want to call it. So I do have a few students who I noticed that I believe have already mastered their skill, and I just think it's because the iReady data was from a couple months ago. Most of them I think was pretty on track still, but I do have a couple students who I think maybe either just didn't try their hardest on iReady, or they just have truly already mastered it since then. So in order to assess that they can leave that that group, like I have a student who is definitely ready. He is in my Sneaky E group, but today he was literally reading like an entire book that Sneaky E, like, and I could hear him over on the side because he was just sitting with me, and I was doing a reading group, and I was like, okay, yeah, you've definitely passed Sneaky E. So in order to just assess them and make sure that they're like on the right track, I'm gonna print out a little passage that has like the pattern that I'm focusing on. So for that particular student, it would be a magic E passage, and then they if they can read it all the way through. And then I'm going to give them a quick little list of words with that spelling pattern. If they can read that all the way through, then I'll count them as mastered of that like specific skill. Oh my gosh, I cannot talk. And then I'll move them to the next group. And I have just like a list of like kind of the order that we do things in, and then where they would get bumped down to. So that's kind of what we're working on. And then in my my WIN group, which I also work with students who are struggling readers, so it all kind of just goes hand in hand for me. I have a student teacher who is actually my partner student teacher, but because that group, we switch all of our kids around, she's taking a group of students from my group because those are the kids who kind of just need the most help. And so I printed out the like lesson plan for her. And so each day they're doing 5 minutes of phonemic awareness. So she was doing like just sounding out words and having them tell her what word it is. So like it, hit. And then I told her to stop like at random words and just say like, okay, what sound do you hear in the middle of that word or whatever. And then 5 minutes of high frequency words. So I gave her some high frequency, I wrote them on literally just a piece of cardstock. That was another thing. It's like, I would have normally probably just tried to like print these and make them all cute, but this works just as well. So I did that, and then so she works on those. We say like, this word is what? What is this word? And the kids say what? And then I say, how do you spell this word? And then they all spell it together. WHAT spells what? And then 5 minutes of phonics. So she was doing, because I didn't want the kids to each have their own for like dry erase markers and stuff, just because we were so short on time for that group. I gave her letters, and I gave her just sound boxes, and then she's just doing it, and the kids just help her and tell her what letters to put there. And I gave her a list of words. And this is the same I'm doing in my group. The only difference was that the passage changed. So like for her group, she was working on more of a short vowel passage, and my group was just wasn't necessarily short vowel. It was just more of a basic level like passage that I pulled from our curriculum. So that was the only difference. And then the rest of the 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever's left, was just working on whatever our high priority is. And so currently it's character response. This group is still kind of just working on like, what are characters? What are events in the story before we can really work on like, how do they respond to an event? So that's what my group's been doing. And I literally just talked for 9 minutes. So maybe this will be its own video. What a boring video. Also, I cannot see this thing. Oh, there we go. I was just thinking the camera was in manual the whole time, and I was going to be so sad. So anyway, that's what like my biggest focus has been. I also printed out, I just have all this stuff in front of me. I also printed out these little phonemic awareness or phonological awareness assessments. They're just super like short and quick. I'm not going to give these to all my kids because not all my kids need it, but some of my kids showed that like they need help with rhyming, and I just kind of want to assess that, and this is just an easy way to do it. So this all came from just our curriculum. We use Wonders, which I feel like I've said that a million times, but yeah, so that's kind of been my day, my weekend. That's what I did this weekend. This weekend was my birthday, but I worked a good chunk of yesterday, actually. I don't know. It was like one of those things where I never force myself to work on the weekends unless I like absolutely have to. But if it's something that like I'm motivated to just want to get done, I'm more than like willing to get it done on the weekend, if that makes sense. And this weekend was one of those weekends where I was like, yeah, I kind of just want to get stuff done. So, yeah, that's just like a few things I've been doing to just kind of help my kids and target goals a little bit better. And just some, I don't know, little activities that were just like easy. Like it wasn't a lot of extra work, which was really nice. And then there was something else I was going to say. I think I will just continue this and just make it a little bit longer of a vlog because I feel like that would be really boring for just its own vlog. So I guess I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I feel like I'm a chicken running around with my head cut off this morning because I completely forgot that we have a meeting this morning. We have it like once a month on a Tuesday. But I didn't realize today was that day until this morning in my car, like on my screen for my Apple like CarPlay or whatever, it pops up like anything that's on my calendar for that morning, like if it's within that time frame. And it said I had a meeting, and I was like, because I totally forgot, and I had like stuff I was planning on doing this morning. And then I have a meeting today at 3, so before the school day ends, and I don't know how long that will take, and then I have to go to class tonight. And then I just got to school and I realized today is picture day, and I missed picture day because I was gone with my jury duty, which means I had to do makeup picture day today, and I didn't even remember it was picture day. So I guess I'm wearing a t-shirt for picture day this year. Oh well. Anyway, I don't know how I forgot that. It didn't even cross my mind. So anyway, I have to I have like a half an hour ish I need to print my math win group stuff. I think everything else I'm ready for, and then I just need to look over my math lesson for the day and just make sure that like everything is good with that, and then I have everything ready. I also have an observation this week on Thursday, I believe. I don't even know. Thursday. So I need to write the lesson plan for that. Like, I already have it mapped out what I'm going to do because my partner and I did it, because we both have the same like time and the same subject. So and it's on the same day. We just have like 2 different people observing us. So we planned it out together to just make sure that we were like on the same page with everything, because it's our ELD time, so it's a little bit like, I don't know, that's one of our areas I feel like we're not always necessarily on the same page. Like we are, but I just wanted to make sure that we are like truly on the same page, especially because I've been like out and everything like that. So anyway, I'm gonna get to work and I'll catch up with you guys at some point. I also had my coffee. I don't know if someone shared with me, like a family friend shared with me this coffee that they really, really like, and I was kind of like, oh, okay. And then I tried it and I was like, oh my gosh, it's literally the best thing ever. So it's an iced coffee, and it's a Vietnamese, I don't know if it's a latte. It's a Vietnamese iced coffee, but you can like make it differently. Like, it's concentrate, so you can do it kind of however you want. I just mixed like a little bit of water in it, but it's from this place called Lee's. I don't know if it's just like a Southern California thing, but it's like a Vietnamese like sandwich deli type place. I don't know, they have like a ton of different things there, but they have like sandwiches that are like Vietnamese style, so I don't know like a lot of what's on them. But yeah, so they have this coffee and it comes in a bottle, but they have it at Costco. Some Costco's have it, like depending on the area that you're in, if that's kind of a more expected area for I would assume like more Vietnamese people probably live in those areas. I don't even know. But yeah, so I actually went to like the place and got some the other day because it's like not too far from here. And oh my gosh, it's so good. It's not healthy at all, but it's like super sweet and just like, oh, it's so good. So I've got it in my, I don't have a lid on this either. I have it in my little Mrs. Brooks coffee mug that a kid got me my second year teaching. It's kind of all ruined now, but yeah. So I gotta get to work. All right, it's the end of the day, and I actually have to leave in like literally 5 minutes, so I'm gonna make this really quick. But I finally printed all these out. I just figured I'd show them to you guys as my last little piece, because this whole video ended up being all about, I don't know, like meeting needs for reading or something. I don't even know. A different way of like running phonics groups, I guess. But anyway, so I printed these, and you could easily like make these on your own. But this is how I'm going to like assess that my kids have mastered a certain phonics pattern, and then if they'll get to go to the next pattern. So I have a list of like the order that we go for the patterns. And basically it's just like the kids are working on like Magic E, and then the next step would be like, I think it's Val Teams or something like that. I don't even remember. But anyway, so I printed all of these. These are from our curriculum. And basically all it is just a list of words that are that pattern. So this particular one is initial blends. And so I have students who are working on blends, and if they could read all of this list to me and then they could read these sentences, I went ahead and and it's like not reading them, like sounding them out, but like able to read them like super quick the second basically that they look at them. As long as they're able to read that, then I go ahead and pass them on that particular skill. And they have to pass with 80% mastery is usually kind of the number that we're looking for. So as long as they're able to do that and they're able to read the sentences, and I see that they're doing fine like within the group, and they're able to like read through the books fine and everything like that, then I have no issue. Like today I had a student who, like, I think I talked about them in part of this video, but they were reading through all the magic E-words, and I was like, okay, I feel like you know this. So that was a signal to me that I need to assess them. I went through it. They were literally able to read every magic E-word, read all the sentences, no problem, and had no issues. So I communicated with them that the reason that was one of their goals was because of the fact that that's what showed on their iReady. So just to make sure that on their iReady that they're trying their hardest on the assessment. So that was kind of hopefully like a message to them, like, oh, I got put in this group that I didn't belong in, kind of thing. And I made sure to communicate with them like which goal that they're working on, and then like communicate with them like when they're mastering that goal, when they're passing through it and everything like that. So, and then I also, like, some of my kids who are my lower like DRA levels are also working on the sight words, which I think I said. And I had a helper that's a middle school helper that comes in. They tested all my students who are below like actually it was the students who showed on iReady that they didn't pass their high frequency words, but it ended up being everyone that was under like a 16 DRA or so. They went through the whole iReady list and tested them, and then I wrote down like each kid's goals of like which words they actually needed help with, or which list they were like technically on. So that's what I did for that. And then that's kind of, I don't know, that's what I've been doing. That's like what my brain has been thinking about nonstop for the last like 2 days, not 2 days, like almost a week actually. So yeah, I just wanted to like share that with you guys, because I love like listening to stuff like that. Like I love talking about like reading and stuff like that, because reading is like a very hard subject to teach. I don't know, it's like one of those things that it's hard to teach someone how to teach reading. It's something I just feel like you pick up as time goes on of like teaching kids how to read. Like, yes, I was taught in college how to teach kids how to read, but I don't know, it's like something I've had to just kind of discover on my own of like what works and what doesn't, how to meet their needs. Because if you're just sitting there doing like the same thing for every kid, like you're wasting a lot of time. So you just seriously like have to sit there and dig through and figure out what does each kid need, especially more for like the struggling readers, not so much for like the kids who are on track, like they can just keep going through. But our kids who are struggling readers, like they've got all these gaps, and they're unable to fill those gaps if we're not like helping to fill them, and then they're unable to learn, you know, the stuff that's later if we're unable to fill the previous gaps. So I don't know, my words of wisdom for today. If you guys want like more reading style stuff like this, definitely like leave me a comment and let me know, because it's something that like I'm super passionate about, and I'm becoming like more passionate about it. So let me know if that's something that you guys are interested in. I actually had a comment today that I saw pop up on my phone that said like something about helping with guided reading. I didn't get to read the whole message yet because I've been teaching. But yeah, so hopefully this will be helpful and give you some support in your own class. I know this is a lot of stuff that's like, is that even second grade level? But when I'm talking about most of the stuff, it's more for my students who are struggling with reading, and who are just not quite where they should be yet, which I'm sure a lot of us have a lot of students like that, because that's just how it goes sometimes. So hopefully this helped, and I will catch you guys maybe later this week. It's only Tuesday, so I'm going to try to get another vlog this week, and I have to go to class. So I'll catch up with you guys later. There's my phone.